Key West address. Give me a Key West address.
Wow, that's loud. We're on.
Woo, we're on. Welcome to Key West with Where Go Pro and Sunset with Culver
and Watson.
And here we are this evening, so we're going to banter for a few minutes. First of all, I want to throw out
Episode 6, first of all.
Episode 6.
96 subscribers.
We need more subscribers.
Yeah,
so
we're going to go
please-
Scientology on your asses if we don't start getting some more
Or
subscribers.
alien, I'm not
or
really
alien
sure.
or whatever.
I'm not really sure where that's headed.
We have
I think
photos.
It's easier. Scientology, you have to read.
We have photos of each and every one of you, and please don't make us present them. Just subscribe. It's easier for everybody.
It's easier if I send you a text with your photo. Really, jump on it like within 3 minutes, or it automatically shoots out.
Yeah, we're only 4 away, so come on. Throw a couple. These old gray mares, just throw us some oats for the love of God.
You
just
call
4
yourself
more.
a
That's all we
gray
want.
mare. I'm a young buck.
Well, I mean, if you could see my beard.
I've seen your beard.
Yeah, I know. Her name was. No, I'm just kidding.
So there's
Melinda DePino. That's all I know. Melinda, I hope you're watching.
I do want to throw a shout out because it is the 3rd anniversary of Hurricane Irma.
Yes, it is.
Which was
we're going to tie in later with the guests that we have.
Yeah, and so we'll handle that. But I want to throw a sign out to the Badass Bitch Club. There were 7 of us who were the badass bitches that set up the warehouse for proceeds because we got caught in a 3-way between Marie and Puerto Rico and Harvey in Texas.
Exactly.
There wasn't a FEMA person to be found.
They were all busy.
And we had no power, we had no cell phones, we had nothing.
And once it leaves us and it doesn't go to Miami, then we're pretty much not newsworthy anymore. But where were you? Where
I was here.
You were here.
I never leave.
I never leave either.
Yeah.
Which is a big bone of contention with my mother, who I always say, if I can just tell her, hey, Mom, I love you. And I think you already know this. I'm not leaving.
Yeah.
You're
safer here.
Yeah.
So.
And we bounce back faster than anywhere.
Oh, no,
I mean,
there was no
honest
question.
to God.
So we had 7 of us. So you had Lori Theobald running.
Yep.
And Tanya Leto.
Yep. Bernadette.
Myself. Roberta
Fine. May she rest in peace, Roberta Fine.
Right. So I was in charge of mooring fields and dog food. Because that makes perfect sense.
Why would it not?
So at least I didn't get shot at, and I kept calling Tanya once our phones came back up. So we did it for 43 days.
Well, it's really funny because
I just want to say hi, guys. Happy anniversary.
And I do know that the shipments that were coming in and craziness.
That was all because of Tanya and all those guys and Tanya's mother. There were so many people that really threw down for that.
Well, just to reflect a little bit, because we were, everybody loves their Facebook, and since being in Facebook jail, but I went through the 24 hours of Facebook jail, and much like Andy Dufresne, I came out on the other side. But the one thing is, everybody was talking about, I'm going to get PTSD from all these like photos coming up from 3 years later. And I'm sitting here thinking, I don't have any. I mean, my memories.
You were blacked out the
entire
time.
It's like, I mean, we had no cell. I'm like, we had no. I remember when everybody wanted to get back here, and it was this big coup on Facebook, and everybody's like, we need to get back to our homes. And I mean, they were gone for quite some time.
Yeah.
I'm like, if the idea of using the bathroom, using toilet paper, and throwing it into a facility without flushing it, if that appeals to you, I know a lot of you, that ain't your world. Stay where you are, where you have AC.
Stay in your lane.
Yes, stay in your lane. Because I'm telling you right now, it was not like, the land of milk and honey down here while I was going on.
It was so hot.
But I was at beachside, and I will say this, Karen Franknall, I hope she's watching. She commented on my post today when I said something to the effect of that. And we were staying at Beachside Marriott.
Right.
And the world was there. I mean, I'm telling you what.
I know. Everybody was there.
If you didn't know any better, it was the party of all parties. I mean, it was just like Tavern in Town was just like everybody you loved and hated all in one room. But the energy that came from that was like amazing.
Yeah.
And I made friendships. I know I stayed in a room because I was on one of the lower floors.
So they took away some of your restraining orders?
Yes, they did. I had to sign a few waivers, but I did get to stay in a room with a few other people.
Okay.
And
really?
one of them, Bo and Robin, Bo Sharp and Robin, who Bo is with Mary Ellen's, and Robin, who they have just recently got engaged. They are amazing people. Okay. And I got to meet them, and it was just amazing. So the friendships that bonded over that were just pretty much off the hook.
Well, we have two special guests tonight, which is Roberta DePiero.
Yes.
And of course, Reef Perkins.
Reef Perkins as well, yeah.
They're both icons. And before we take a minute break here to bring them on, I just want to recognize, Dink Bruce's passing.
Yes, absolutely. And I got to say, we were talking about this earlier today.
Yes.
We do communicate before this happens. You can't tell.
I know.
I know it goes seamlessly, but I just without a hitch.
Yeah, that's what I would say.
We have a hutch, but no hitch. But seriously, I did not know him.
Okay.
I had heard about him, but I don't think I ever met him, which is really weird because I've, being down here as long as I have, I feel like I've met just about everybody. Sure. But how did he get his? You wanted to talk about how he got his name?
A couple of things because both Roberta and Reef are definitely legendary icons here. Yeah. And so is Dink. Yep. And Dink got his name. So for those of you that don't know, Dink got his name. His father was the houseman for Hemingway. And when he was a young kid, he was running around the pool and the lawn, and apparently he had a big schlong, and so Hemingway named him Dink, and that's how he got his name, and it stuck with him.
God, I wish.
And he was a writer and a phenomenal photographer.
Well, I was going to say, maybe we all be so lucky just to get that nickname.
Yes. I mean, that'd be. Said, look at the dink on that kid.
Look at the dink on that kid, and that's from our studio audience.
Yeah, we have a studio audience.
Woo, thank you.
Bringing it up.
So we're gonna go to Michelle, which is
Michelle. Isn't she on a date? How could she pull herself away to be able to
I know I can't even possibly imagine. This is our roving reporter in Chicago.
Yep.
So let's go to Michelle, and I'm gonna count the texts when we're done.
Hi everyone, it's Michelle Marie from Key West, where the Weird Go Pro. Just want to say hi. Thanks for joining in. I hope you're enjoying the show. Culver and Watson, they're a little crazy, a little kooky, maybe weird. What do you think? Anyway, I'm here. Key West for the Weird Go Pro is online. Subscribe, share, do all that fun stuff. And if you need a little t-shirt for your face, all the proceeds from sales of this bad boy go to the Sister Season Fund. So that's that. Hi again. And now, you know what? It's not just me working behind the scenes. We've got the amazing Eric Hutchins, our foreign correspondent from Park City, Utah, is now joining us. Get away, Hutch.
Thank you, Michelle. Hope everyone can hear me okay. I am in Utah right now, and I like to consider myself a foreign correspondent for all my peeps in Key West. Love all of you, miss you. What I like to see, bring every week is what do I see about Key West from living far away? What am I seeing in the news from half a world away? This week, I saw that you guys released some 750 million genetically altered mosquitoes. What? Yeah, it sounds a little sketchy, but I believe it's for a good purpose. Here's what they had to say online. The mosquito won federal approval, and it's just the females, so you don't have to worry about it. The mosquitoes are altered before in the larval stage. So before any hatching or anything like that is done, it's the larvae that are affected by this mutation, by this genetically altered mosquito. I am actually looking forward to hearing what Reef Perkins has to say tonight. I worked with Tom Jackson and Reef back in the day. Reef was cleaning up shipwrecks off the reefs, and Tom Jackson was teaching me how to shoot underwater footage. Thank you, Tom Jackson. Anyway, I think we're ready with Reef. Let me throw it back to Key West. Culver and Watson, are you guys there? Are you with me?
Yeah.
Either that or I didn't take the pink pill before I left the house. So I think that's you, Hutch, talking to me from Utah.
I don't even want to talk about it.
We'd be here all night. We don't need to get into that.
Are we back?
We're back. I think we're back. We're back and better than ever.
Key West where the weird go pro, Sunset with Culver.
And Watson.
And we have our special guest, Roberta DePiero and Reef Perkins.
Yay!
Who are both major icons. So Roberta, I'm gonna start with you if you don't mind.
Sure.
So I learned a couple things about Roberta that I didn't know. Okay, which I know is shocking because my memory's so good.
Right, but I bet because we have met many years ago.
We met, well, you came here in 91.
Right.
And I got here in 90, so we were apparently we were both very busy.
Yes.
You were deckhand for the Appledore.
Yep.
Oh,
and what amazed me was you were dockmaster for Little Palm Island.
That's right.
So, I mean,
3 years.
For $1 million boats.
Yes.
And $1 million people.
Correct.
And
now, what years did you do Little Palm?
91 to 95.
Okay, because Little
Early.
Palm
Has totally changed.
Oh yeah. Well, they're building it back.
It's open.
No,
now.
it's open.
It's
now.
open. Get the hell out of here!
Yeah, they redid all that.
Where could I have been?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know. you didn't take
Nobody
that
answered that in the feed. Don't tell me where I was.
But you were also a gymnastics coach.
Correct.
I knew you worked for US1 Radio, but I also know you have your own company, which is Key West Playbills, which I knew about.
Correct.
Which is selling ads to
all the theaters in town.
Okay.
Oh, amazing.
Yes.
Yeah,
so
what's
when
awesome.
Mark does a show at Waterfront,
right?
I've sold the ads for
And
the
I
program
love
that
that.
goes in.
I love that.
It's
When
a
you go to the
$10
theater
bill
to
that goes
see
around.
Mark,
Yeah, we're just
around.
buying the same drink for
Right.
everybody. Like
See?
it's
Right.
been that way for years.
And you've worked for 1,000 nonprofits.
Oh, yes.
One of my favorites that I was reading about you is you started the original Key West Food and Wine Festival with our buddy Henry Woods.
Yes.
And God rest his soul.
God rest his
Right.
soul as well.
And
And that ties
And
the theater
Henry
in
and I
as
have
well.
the same birth date.
Oh, you're kidding.
You and Henry?
Yep. Yep.
Wow.
Wow,
And
that's
God
very
rest. I mean,
special.
that ties in the
And
theater as
Wilhelmina
well.
Harvey.
Oh.
I mean, am I a special person?
Wow,
That's right.
really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Boy, there's a trifecta right there.
Wow.
That's right.
But you did Mote Marine also.
Mote Marine. Mote
Yep.
Marine, yes. Ocean Festival.
Yep. And you were president of Zonta.
Yes.
And I think.
I was
And
president
on the
of
seventh
Zonta.
day, she slept.
Yes. Well, I think
Jesus.
actually he gave me an award one year.
We did?
Yeah.
Probably.
Well, no, I know you did. I was there.
Might have been before my time.
But your real talent is photography, which I love. Your photography
thank
is
you.
just outrageous.
Thank you.
And I know that you did a project with Carol Tedesco, another tremendous icon that's going to come on in a couple weeks with us.
Cool.
So why don't you talk about your first book?
All right. So the first book that Carol and I did was called Afterlife, Images from the Key West Cemetery.
Oh, I got it.
And it has equal images in it that are both Carol's and mine. And it's really a photography book.
Have that. I got
Okay,
this.
thank you. It's really a photography book. So it's not about the history of Key West, but it's more about the images that we saw when we went in to shoot between 2012, 2014, before the city went in and cleaned up the cemetery. So a lot of the shots you can't get now because they've cut a lot of the cool stuff out.
Yeah.
And I want to, for people that don't know, if you're watching this and you've never taken the time, I always said that I lived for 3 years right next to I always said two things I would never do: live with a pit bull, and I would never live at the Key West Cemetery because no matter how long I lived here, I could not navigate myself around it at all.
Yeah.
It's like a big, like,
You know, you can't get in.
when you're on the
I
corner.
go to see Georgia, I have to use GPS for
Yeah, if you're on the corner of Angela and Angela, you know you're at the Key West Cemetery.
Right.
But
It's like 19 acres in the middle of Key West. Yeah.
and I did live there, and I lived with Susan
Not
Kent.
in the cemetery.
Not
You
right
lived
next
across.
door. The mausoleums. I lived.
Yeah, it depends how he ends tonight.
Right. My next door neighbors, literally for 3 years, were with Susan Kent. Hey, Susan, I hope you're watching. Susan Kent were the mausoleums. I'm like, they were the best neighbors ever
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
because it was totally quiet. But if you've never been in the Key West Cemetery, It is like one of the most quirky. It's just as quirky as our island is.
Right.
Yeah,
It's so
greatest
fascinating.
habitat.
One day while I was shooting this, I went into, because Carol said, we love this shot, but we need it a little bit different. So I went in and shot like 500 images of the same frickin' grave so that I could get the correct image and the windmill going and all of this because, whatever. And there was no wind. I'm blowing the windmill and we'd circle and run back and take the picture. So, and I happened to have both my cameras with me and I accidentally locked my car with the keys on the inside. So I called him. I'm at the cemetery.
Which I did earlier today, by the way, just so you know. I'm not being empathetic.
Right. So
I didn't
here I
have the
am.
line in there.
I told him, just leave the keys at the office because I'm going to be out shooting.
Right.
So he came in and started driving around the cemetery looking for me. And here I am, like way back in there because you can get off those roads.
Yeah.
And I'm laying down, as a photographer. We're in the dirt, shooting up, laying down, and he never found me. So he left. An hour and a half later, I walk into the office. I go, Russell, where's my keys? Well, I don't know. So I call him. He goes, well, I couldn't find you. I'm like, so you could have just left him in the office. So
everybody else was laying down. He should have just stood up.
You blended in with everybody else that was there.
Right.
And speaking of Wilhelmina, I love one story that she always said, because I think she's the last person I know that was like actually had it buried in there and had a grave. And she would go there for lunch, and she's like, "Well, if I'm going to spend the rest of my life,
It's a good
to the neighborhood."
She used to tell me it was a good view. She liked the view.
Yeah. She's got a cool shadow on her.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Well, and why don't you talk a little bit about your latest project with Carol Tedesco?
Okay. So, when COVID hit and the keys got closed down, all of a sudden I found myself totally like with nothing to do.
Okay.
Right? You can relate.
Yeah.
So,
God, yes.
and I was teaching aerobics at the time, so I decided I would start riding my bike to get my exercise because I wasn't teaching aerobics, so I might as well just start riding. So I went for a half an hour. Especially, I wanted to see what it was like to ride with nobody here. Absolutely nobody. And it was almost eerie to be able to ride straight down Duval Street and not see anybody else. But a couple people walking
We used to play, remember, we used to bowl with a coconut and beer bottle.
Just see like how far it goes.
Because it was
Right. So I only had my phone with me and I started shooting pictures. And as the time went on, I was posting my pictures on Facebook, and then I saw Carol posted the same picture that I posted, that I had taken but hadn't posted. And then I started seeing other photographers posting, and I thought, maybe we should do a photography book. So I called Carol. I said, Carol, what do you think about doing a book where it's a collaboration of other photographers that have been out shooting, and we do it as a fundraiser for like Sister Season Fund? And she said, well, what about SOS? And I said, let's let the photographers decide. We're going to move forward with the project. We personally, because we didn't want to do an open call because we would have had thousands. It would have been ridiculous. So we personally invited 25 other photographers to join in the project. And your video crew here is actually part of the book.
Woo!
Yeah, so they have some really cool shots because theirs are all underwater. And we made parameters that it had to be shot between March 1st and June 1st. Any kind of camera, but that was the parameters. And we asked each photographer to give us their bio, a headshot, but the bio had to be in first person to tell us about their experience during that time. And it's really interesting because the book is set up with their bio and headshot, and then it follows
like their photographs.
Yeah, their photographs follow it. Then it's the next bio and the headshot.
That's
and
so
their
cool.
photographs. So you
that.
read their story and then you see their images. And it's so cool. Mark is sitting on them.
I'll lift my leg for you.
Okay, thanks. So, if you want to show the book,
Yes.
This is my fake cover because
This
we
is
don't
fake.
have the book yet. It's
No,
coming soon.
It's coming. It's forthcoming.
It's forthcoming. And it's sort of, I printed these on my actual printer so they don't look as good as it would in real person. But Carol has the front cover of the buoy
Perfect.
being covered. And then on the back cover, is the one that I shot. This too shall pass. See you at sunset.
Oh.
And I gotta
you just give me chills.
I know,
Yeah.
seriously.
Yeah.
And I know for a lot of people that are out there that may not know, that was like, I can only imagine, and I can't wait to see the images because for those of you who don't know, our island got closed down pretty much mid-March up until June 1st. So we really were
An
our own-
isolated,
yeah,
an
our
isolated
own-
island,
exactly.
which Reef came up with the title.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Because it's so, and in Key West during COVID, that's just like, because all of us, what I saw coming back during that time, and I can't wait to see the photos, is that we started looking at things that we hadn't seen before.
Right.
These things that you can drive by like, 100 times in your time here. And then you just see it and you're like,
That's amazing.
wow, that's really beautiful. And people talked about how clear the water was.
Right.
And how the foliage was just so happy. It's almost like a reset button was on the island,
Sure.
and the island responded in beautiful ways.
Right.
So I can't wait to see this.
I don't,
when
and
it comes
the
out.
project we said was going to be 150 pages.
Mhm.
And we actually, Carol and I did an application to the Awesome Foundation,
Okay.
which Amy is on the board. We
I don't
said,
know this, so
"Here-
tell me, because I
Here's
don't know
the
what the
deal.
Awesome
This is what we want to do.
Because I'm on the board, they named it awesome.
Right.
That's all I need to know,
Right.
apparently. All right.
Don't
And we
miss your
said-
shot, do you?
So the Awesome Foundation,
No wonder I don't know anything about it.
right, they granted us $1,000 to go towards a printing. So we were going to print a 150-page book, which would look like this.
It would look like this if
Right.
this were the book, which
Right.
it isn't, but
Right.
it's forthcoming.
Right. So it would be a 150-page book, and we were going to print 250 copies. We thought we could raise, do you remember, Amy, what it was?
$65,000.
No,
For
Originally.
printing. The original. Oh,
Was
God.
like, I don't know. I can't remember.
No.
Yeah, I don't remember, but we thought it was like a lot of money. Well, as we started inviting photographers, we ended up with the 27 total photographers. Almost each photo is one image per page. The book is now 352 pages.
Wow.
It's like almost an inch thick.
Wow.
So it's this size, coffee table book. It's a limited
Brilliant.
edition.
Amazing.
We are shooting to print 1,000 copies.
Great.
And that if we get all the money raised for the printing cost, which is $22,000, then we could raise as much as $65,000 for
That's
sister
where
season.
that, yeah.
And I know
Right.
somewhere in Massachusetts, Julie Henson just perked up.
Yeah,
She's like
she just went
all
there.
about that.
So if we don't, the minimum would be $45,000. So we're somewhere between $45,000 and $65,000 with this book, which
Yeah, but that's it. I mean, that's a
it
big
gives
chunk.
me goosebumps
Yeah,
that
that's a
because
chunk.
of the $1,000 that you guys gave us that launched the project, and all the photographers donated their images. The design, Eric Grawl, he donated
Beautiful.
his time. But can I show some images?
Of course.
Of course.
So I did print these on my little printer at home. So Andy Newman gave us this shot, and it's
This is-
from Isla Murata,
Wow.
right after they put the checkpoint up. I mean, there's two cars. Normally
That
there'd be
never
like,
happens.
right, it would be filled with cars. We also have this fabulous shot from Rob O'Neill. Rob, an hour before the 5 p.m. closing on St. Patrick's Day at Concord Public Seafood.
That's what I thought that was. I was looking
And
at that.
underneath, an hour later,
Wow.
nobody in there but the bar crews, because that's what it was, 5 p.m. I mean,
Wow.
that's a fabulous
I
picture.
remember I was supposed to work that night. I remember.
Yeah, Todd Fight. He was behind the scenes with Terry Johnston.
Oh, that's right.
So he did some images of Terry plus some of his great work. He's also on the Awesome board.
Yes. He's
So
wonderful.
Yeah, so we have a few shots of behind the scenes of her daily or weekly updates to the
Momently
citizens.
from what she says. Absolutely.
Yes, yeah. So there's some of her. This one is Corey Malcolm.
Oh,
Corey's got some underwater
Oh, right,
shots,
Corey.
but he also submitted this one, which is Publix.
empty.
Yep.
Empty, no toilet paper, no any paper
Yeah,
products.
And this will make anybody who lives here's heart sink because I've seen that
Right.
image more times than I care to count.
Right,
And you're like,
exactly. I mean, it has to be in this book
Yeah.
because,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
a one-time limited edition. Oh, wait, you can't lick your lips when you have a mask on.
oh, well.
Okay, next. All right. Yeah, Larry Black.
She's sharp. She is sharp.
Oh, Larry Blacker. Well, I was so, so he could see. I wanted Mark to be able to see. How about that?
I love it.
So it's Sushi and Margaret Margot Ellis,
I know Mark, yeah.
making masks. So, you know, they jumped right in and start making
Yep,
masks.
they did it right away.
So that Larry put those 2 photos in.
I got that one.
Right. All right. Carol Tedesco did this one of Pablo, which has got, he's serving some ice cream. And I have to show the audience, sorry. TV audience. Yeah. And, you know, so
We're
this
so
is another-
sophisticated
and
here.
After,
We really are.
after she put it on and after looking at into the 16th copy of the proof, she said, "Oh my gosh, he has a Sister Season Fund logo on."
Nice. And I know where he got that. I
Yeah.
probably.
All right. Then we have,
Why doesn't that surprise
who
me?
is this? Oh, Allison Crean.
Oh,
So
great.
Yeah.
she's one of the ones that I saw posting on Facebook. She also has that fabulous shot in the book that she shot of the bricks
Yeah.
in front of Captain Tony's that she posted. So that one's in it. But this is one of her southernmost
That's wonderful.
point photos. Then we also have,
Oh.
Kyle Campbell, who is the youngest photographer in the book. He's only, I think, 24. His job closed, you know, for the COVID. He came down to stay with his mother, and he had a drone. All of his shots are drone shots of Key West.
Wow.
They're super amazing.
Wow.
This one is the lighthouse that he shot above. He got FAA approval, and he's got some amazing shots that you've never seen of Key West from a drone.
Wow.
So, yeah. This is Jay Hall. He's another one I saw posting on Instagram, and I was really, you know, impressed. So we asked Jay to be part of it.
Nice.
His are all black and white photos, and they're very, very interesting.
This is so exciting.
This is-
I can't
Yeah,
wait
this
for
is
this.
Oh,
great.
here they are. Joe and Oslenberg.
Yay!
Their story was that they had a trip to lead a dive on the Vandenberg and at Looe Key, and the trip canceled. But the boat, they still had booked, so they went. And so all of their images are these really cool shots, underwater
That's
shots of the
rocking.
Vandenberg.
Not just another pretty face
Yeah,
out there.
that's right.
It was seriously both of
Vandenberg.
them.
I know, it's got lines in it. I'm sorry, I was running out of ink. Another board member, Lynn
Yes.
Bentley Kemp.
Oh,
She's
yeah.
got amazing pictures also that she always posts. So she's also in it. You know, when the boat ramps closed.
Yeah.
Oh, this is my shot.
Oh, nice.
So I was out riding on the boulevard, and there was this chalk stuff on the ground. And it said, which I think is really cool, if plan A does not work, just remember you have 25 more letters.
That's pretty cool.
I mean, and it's not spelled right, like does is DOS. I mean, I'm like, you know, what little kid can write that?
Yeah,
So
no, that's
yeah,
perfect.
so that one's in there. This is Martha
I like it.
Martha Hubbard. I don't know if you've seen her.
Yep.
She's got several White Street Pier images in. She's got some great stuff in also. Of course, CJ Groff. I mean,
Yep.
how can you
Oh,
not?
CJ.
And she did this great image of graffiti with the guy with the mask on.
Which,
Yeah.
by the way, they totally walked past without even paying attention to it.
Yeah, I
Even
bet.
with that, I
Yeah.
mean, that would make me stop short. But obviously, the
And Ralph De Palma. So, you know, the
Ralphie.
city of Key West named the new amphitheater after Coffee Butler,
Yep.
and they were supposed to do the dedication in March. So this is the only image, this one on the top,
That's
with
so
coffee in
amazing.
it, because they did not dedicate it until June 26th.
Yeah.
But we wanted coffee in the book, and it was supposed to take place during the shutdown, so it's the only image that was shot after June 1st. And then, of course, on June 1st, we had the Peaceful March. So
Yep.
these are Mark Hedenge images.
Oh, yeah.
And we've the sheriff and the chief of police are in it. And these are my notes. But I have to say that we did a poll with the photographers, and they picked Sister Season Fund. So they
Fantastic.
actually voted where the money was going to go.
Which I think is wonderful because Key West Where the Weird Go Pro
Yes.
works with Sister Season Fund.
Yes.
And if you buy a mask from Sister Season Fund, it goes directly to Key West Where the Weird Go Pro.
Right.
And we've had Julie Hansen on, and coming from the hospitality industry, there are more people out there that need help that will ask for it because they're accustomed to serving and helping than
Right.
really truly
Yeah.
asking for help.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we can't thank you enough from
Yeah.
Sister Season Fund and also from
Absolutely.
the Austin Foundation.
Thank you. Yeah.
Your application was great, and we really look forward to seeing
Yeah.
the final product.
So it is. It's going to be a softbound book. with a velvet touch suede feel on the cover. Yeah.
Nice.
It's printed by Key West Printing, so it's going to be a local printer. He's printing it out of Tampa, but it is going to be printed here. And advanced orders are $49. In advance, you can pre-order until the Halloween.
Okay.
That's a
October
good way to put
31st.
it.
Right.
I had to think about it too.
Right,
I'm like,
right. And the reason why is because Sister Season Fund is busy doing all those King and Queen fundraisers, and they didn't want to change their focus. So we did pre-orders of $49 until Halloween night, midnight. March 1st, $74.99.
March 1st is
I mean, sorry,
The day
November
after
1st.
November 1st.
Sorry, that's in the book. Yeah. So
nobody knows what day it is.
No, it's like, I mean, it's, I said today, my mom said, what are you going to do today? I'm like, I've got the podcast. She goes, is it Thursday? I'm like, yeah, it really is. It really, now don't ask me the date, but I know that it's
Can I just list the other photographers that
Absolutely.
I didn't? Sure. Okay, so we have Liz Acar, Peter Arno. Susan Bailey has these phenomenal up-close images of flowers because she stayed home and that's what she did. We also have Michael Blades. Let's see, Jeffrey Cardenas, who is currently
he's
sailing around the world, but he came home because of the virus. So he put some images in. Heather Dow, who Heather has these amazing sunset images that she shot. Tony Gregory has one picture in because it wasn't out shooting, but it's a picture of his mask that he did for Sister Season Fund. Let's see, Martha Hubbard, we talked about. Bill and Linda Clipp. Now
of course.
Yes,
Yeah,
so they've got some
right
great one. And they actually, Linda put a picture in of Dink.
Oh,
so
cool.
He is in the book. Yep. And Andy Newman, I mentioned. And then, of course, Rob O'Neill. You can't have the book without Rob O'Neill.
Love Rob O'Neill.
Yeah, Steve Perenarello, and then Sharon Wells. Besides Carol Tedesco.
What a great project and what a great group.
What a great group of people. I mean, it totally is. Because, I mean, like all of them, and you should check out galleries as well because their artwork is very prominent in Key West galleries and they are amazing talents.
Right.
And the other thing too is because they donate so much, they could really use some support, financial support right now.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So if you do go to some of the galleries, go for the local artists. No offense to the out of towners, but you know, we need a little love right now.
So, and because I'm on the Anne McKee board, I have to say that there are actually 10 Anne McKee grant recipients.
Wow.
They receive grants for
Wonderful.
the photography, and they are actually in the book. Plus, the designer is on the board, and then me, I'm on the board.
Wonderful.
And Anne McKee is like for artists, be it theater, be it writers, be it photographers, be it
grant recipient.
Yes, exactly. We're going to get to that, and so totally. But like as Anne McKee, the Anne McKee Foundation does so much to keep the arts alive here. And so if you're looking for something maybe to donate to, we want to donate to Sister Season, but to keep the arts alive, don't forget the Anne McKee Foundation.
Right.
Because
the auction will be in February. Half the proceeds go back to the participants that provide the artwork. So like Mark, if you did a piece of art, you would get 50% of the $1,000 that it sold for.
I'm all on
and
board.
The other 500 would go to the fund to give out as grants so that people like Reef can write another book.
Yep.
Well, and we're going to.
Who's my husband, by the way?
We're going to segue into Captain Reef.
Yes.
A couple of things. First, can I ask how you guys
keep going? She's better at it.
I don't.
He's sitting there going, dodging a bullet. Left and right.
I think I'll go get some wine.
Yeah, excuse me. I'll be right back.
But how did you guys meet? Because I've never heard that story.
Go ahead. You want to tell it, hon?
A sound check at Green Parrot or something?
No.
No, we were at the Key West Yacht Club, New Year's Eve. I'm going to leave out a lot of detail, but anyway, it got a little tense, and I was about to make a big mistake. And then
my date was in the bar drinking.
Left her, and it was just not.
It's New Year's.
So there's a number of things that were irritating to the point of wanting to do something. So I went, well, and just as I thought that, I felt this heat beside me, and it was her. And she goes, "You want to dance?"
Because it was
so
great. It was the one
she saved me from being.
Yeah.
She saved me from being expelled
a bad boy
for a while.
And you are a bad boy.
And actually,
was. We like to use it.
Actually,
we're going to use it.
That was how we kind of knew each other. But then on September 9th of 1997, I walked into Harpoon Harry's and he was sitting there by himself And I was like, oh, I know him. And I was walking in by myself. So I sat down with him and that was it.
That's nice.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
So it's actually our anniversary of our first breakfast together.
Oh, there you go. Which has
Love
no
it.
double entendre.
No. Absolutely.
So, Captain Reef, you've been here since 1970. You were a bad boy.
Well, it wasn't bad. I mean, it was just irritating to some people.
Well, you're a modern day wrecker, an
Yeah.
experimental diver.
Icon.
Icon.
I've never been an icon. I like this icon thing.
I know.
You're an icon. You just kind of get used to
Well,
it.
it's funny because Ma Evans is the one that called me an icon.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about?
No, go with
I
it.
never-
Go with
Oh, I
it.
was like, okay.
Icon. Sure.
As long as I
Why
get
not?
like, first shot at the parking spot, I'm good with
There you
that.
go. Get real.
Yeah,
Use that icon.
But a smuggler, a salvager, an author, a raconteur. And
I have allergies.
you have allergies. Yeah.
Do you
Well,
get
that
your
could
own
be a
coffee
good
or no?
idea. Yeah. Do you have to bow in the morning?
No.
Just about.
She ratted him out. Now she gets it.
And you just wrote your personal biography
Yeah, I
of
did that.
Sex, Salvage, and Secrets.
Moment of desperation. Yeah.
Into desperation. But there were a couple stories in there that I would love for you to drag out of yourself.
Sure.
The one is the Columbus.
Oh, the Columbus Island. Yeah.
Yeah.
Columbus Island was Noah's advanced research ship, had everything you could put on it, and they were researching Looe Key. But what they didn't research was ventilation, because what happened was they were going up and down the Looe Key pretty close, with all the instruments and everything going good. And there were two in the bridge, two guys on watch. And to this day, no one knows whom, but there wasn't really a lot of investigation. One of them farted, and they both left the bridge. And the boat ran up on Looe Key. And so it was went on for 3 years, a lawsuit, and it was called, the final thing was, it was judged that there was a failure of communication with flatulence on the bridge.
Right.
Flatulence on the bridge, which has gotten so many people in so much trouble.
Yeah, I mean, even porches will do it. You just got to be careful.
Yeah. Thank God for the open air.
But it was like $2 million worth of damage, wasn't it, to the reef?
Oh, who knows? They go crazy.
was-
They go
it
crazy
was
on
big,
damages.
something like
Yeah, it was
that. Yeah,
big. It was
like
on the
a-
first big ones, and they were suing their own people.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, there you go.
You
You
can't be
give us
friends
your
unless
money,
you-
we'll give it back to you. Stay off the reef,
You can still come to dinner. I'm going to
That's
sue
right.
you, but when still.
Well, the sad thing was we got there and we were moving it. And yes, there was a hole in it, but holes can be patched,
Right.
But you can't patch a hole when it's on the reef. And so the guy goes, well, we better leave it here in case it gets a hole in it. I go, it's got a hole in it. Maybe we should get it off before it gets 2 holes. That was,
What's your favorite story?
oh man.
I know, which is a horrible thing to ask somebody about.
Well,
their
it's real
memoirs,
quick.
but-
Tommy Hicks was a crazy guy. He was sailed in on a Belizean sloop with just a pair of shorts and a t-shirt, stood up all the way from Cuba or something, sailed into the
Jesus.
pier house, got up all around town. Tommy Hicks. So he went, when I had the salvage business, he went to work for me. And he was erratic. He was up, down. He was totally fearless. He was like a mongoose. And so I gave him the name Tombolo, which is Portuguese for a dry hump between 2 wet spots. Well, he loved that. And he said, and he was always on call 24 hours a day. So when you go to the bar and he'd go, hi, I'm Tommy Hicks. He pushes, had no teeth, but he'd like this. And they go, what do you do? He goes, I'm an oncologist. You go, what do you mean? I'm on call every fucking minute of the day. So one day he goes missing and they find his dinghy. It was a late night and Tommy went out by himself, lived off of Fleming Key, and he couldn't find him. So being the good employer, I rented a plane to go find Tommy's ass. And flying back to the point of origin where Tommy might have fallen, flying back out. It was
Off of his dinghy, right?
Nikolai Porcovino,
Oh yeah.
great guy.
Nikolai.
US.
Nikolai. Yeah, I got him. He's gone. What are we doing? I don't know, but let's keep doing it. And so we finally didn't find him. We landed back, came back, went down to the Live Bait Lounge. Hit this, where that is. Where's
Yeah.
it? Land's End Village Live Bait Lounge. And there's Tombolo sitting at the bar. And I just coughed up hundreds of dollars, and everybody's crying, and they quit crying, they were drinking now. And I go, Tom, what happened? He goes, oh, I fell out of my dinghy, I climbed up on that boat, and some asshole kept flying over me all morning. Kept me awake, I'm tired, Reef, I need a beer.
I got to ask a question because we were talking about the COVID and everything like that. And we were kind of talking about this beforehand as like artists and whatever, and especially writing, because you had asked me, have you written, I would have thought you'd have written a few plays by now in the time. I had such a hard time focusing and I don't know what it was. And I felt kind of guilty about it because I'm like, yeah, I've always said I need more time to write. Well, now you have all the time in the world. And I did you guys face anything like that? I mean, especially Rick.
Yeah, I don't know one person that had any creative juices.
No.
Even if you're good, I mean, that's just even if we're good and everybody's sitting on the porch string.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people who are never coming back from this.
Yeah.
And you can almost sense it because that's how big it is. Like if you go to Fort Jefferson, if you never sensed anything, go to the Dry Tortugas and be in that fort at night, and you will see the presence of things that don't exist mentally or visually, but they're there. And I feel the pressure done. I didn't do nothing worthwhile. I mean, nothing. I worked. I worked.
This is it. This is like, this is what, I mean, seriously, this, when she called me up and asked me about it, I'm like, wow, yeah, I need to do something creative because I've done absolutely nothing.
Right.
However, instead of going, I think I'll write a book.
Yeah, but I mean,
so what happened with me was totally opposite because I never had time to go on. Well, I used to call them photo safaris. Carol and I were trying to schedule a time to go on a photo safari. We never had time, and so what I found was I was out riding my bike and I was going with my friend Jody Gross. We decided to ride every single street in Key West and Lane.
Wow.
We got a big map. We started highlighting
every street.
We did every street in Lane in Key West, and it was cool.
That is amazing.
It was so cool because the stuff that we saw was amazing. And I'd go, wait, stop. Take a picture. Wait, stop.
Yeah.
And it would, so.
So you're the only one on the island that produced anything.
It's just her.
Right.
There'll be a statue up for you.
Yeah, as long as you don't write Confederate on there.
No, we'll write some other kitschy things.
Okay,
I'm sure we can come up with something.
But no, I'm glad somebody else said that because I totally felt that way. Like all my friends were like, oh, you must have, you've got, how many ideas do you have in your head? And I'm like,
I was supposed to finish a children's book.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, you're supposed to do all this stuff. You have all the time in the world. And then you're like sitting there going, you find yourself watching, I don't know, binge watching Golden Girls, like all the episodes. I can tell you what, anytime that comes on.
And the news.
And then,
that's really good. You just start sweating because you can't go anymore.
Well, I was just happy for the U.S. Open tennis that started. Like, I'm like, oh, yay. There's that coming back.
And football starts.
Yeah, football starts.
I don't know if I can watch Golden Girls anymore. Anyways, back to Captain Reef. Because you work for Towboats.
The icon, if you don't mind.
You are the icon. The major icon.
You can have my icon tonight.
I'll trade your icon for my icon.
For all purposes for tonight's interview, you can have my icon.
Okay.
I take my icon
So
off.
you're the vice admiral of the Concrete Republic.
Your earbud fell out.
Oh, that's all right. Don't worry about it.
You don't think so?
Don't worry about it.
She can have mine.
Giving up your icon and your earbud. You're feeling good tonight.
I'm so
I've got
honored.
nothing left. I have given up my icon and my earbud. I got nothing.
I got my earbud back from an icon. So
Now-
you can't really say that very often.
This was supposed to be simple.
I was going to ask you to explain the Vice Admiral Concrete Public naming.
I got in with that with Finbar, and I don't know, it just evolved. I did 7 years. I ended up being the vice admiral, and I was the fleet commander, so I got the great pleasure of running 7 battles.
Nice.
I was the guy on the radio, and so that was some wild times before everybody got so deeply involved with it.
You should probably explain what the battle is.
Yes, please.
The battle.
We're just like we're as stupid as we know we are.
It's my best audience. No, in 1982, the Concrete Republic revolted, and they threw some donuts and Cuban bread at a Coast Guard cutter that was coming in. Well, that initiated the battle. So every year since then, the Coast Guard, acting as the customs because we were protesting the closure of the Keys, border up there, and so
Magic legs.
that became a thing and became pretty big. And people, for a while, it was CNN. Everybody was down here, and then some CNN guy caught a tomato on the end of his lens, and hit the camera and sort of sucked his eyeball out, and that was considered poor form. So on the photographer's part, he ruined a hell of a party and put the eyeball back in and settled down.
Right.
So then the
Don't
Coast
make a
Guard
big
got it. It
fuss.
slowly got more timid, but there was some great scenes on the Wolf. I mean, just stuff.
It was a big old
Beyond
water
under-
fight.
Oh, yeah, it was a water fight.
Style.
Yeah, well, there was
Yes.
spaghetti. The best one was Freddie Cabanas flew in 3 years before it got too difficult and bombed toilet paper. And he
Freddie
bombed it. They had the
Cabanas had
110-foot cutter.
Air Force. He was
Right.
a Concord Public
Yeah,
Air
these
Force.
planes came through throwing toilet paper. And they just as one of those perfect nights. And so they were throwing spaghetti. So this cutter goes, because I was doing all the commercial diving for the Coast Guard and the Navy, and I was doing all the work on the ships. And so they go back into port, and the last thing you want to do is go back into port carrying somebody else's flag, and ours was toilet paper. And they didn't, because of safety reasons, they couldn't send anybody up in the rigging. So they had to go back to their dock with all this toilet paper streaming out of their rigging and this spaghetti baked on the side of the hull.
Perfect.
It was great. It was good fun. Then they would come, then we'd have the battle, and then we'd go to the schooner wharf. And thanks to Paul and Evelina, we'd have the surrender. And then every year the
And
Coast
God
Guard
bless Paul.
would surrender
Yeah,
to the
God bless
Conch
Paul.
Republic, and we'd give them their sword back. And the rest is ice and liquid.
Those were great battles, though.
Oh,
I mean, I
yeah.
remember when I first moved here, it was the one event that I would stop and just make,
Well, if schooner would come back to the schooner wharf, schooner Wolf, it's a flagship,
right.
and tie up, and all these people come back, and we were
Oh.
nasty. I wore whites. I stayed clean, I liked other people. Whack! I had to run the show. We'd come off, and these tourists would come down, have no clue what was happening. It just happened to end up there at that time of day.
Sure.
And here'd come these people off the Wolf covered with tomatoes. This girl's got her whole blouse full of tomatoes with it hanging out. And her people got their pants because they're wet, and the spaghetti all over the place. And the Coast Guard hosed us.
bread.
Yeah, they'd hose you to blow
Yeah.
you right off the deck with their hose.
Yeah.
I love it when tourists look and go,
Yeah.
what's that all about?
Yeah, they hadn't even had their first drink, and they're
Yeah.
seeing these people.
I'm like, what do you find odd about this? We do this every year.
This is
It's
a
like
normal
people's like,
day
is this
for us.
like,
Oh, well,
what
if it's-
else happening?
If
out
it's
there?
annual, it must be all right.
Nobody else is panicked. Calm down. Have another drink.
Moving along, nothing
Yeah.
to see here.
Exactly.
That's right.
Exactly.
So that's what that was.
You know, but one of the things I love about Key West is you walk by icons every day, or you sit next to them in a restaurant, or you talk to them, and everybody has a story.
Mhm.
You know, especially the ones that have been here for quite a while. And I think that's what Mark and I are trying to do, is showcase some of the great people that are still here,
Absolutely.
and remember why we moved here and stay here.
Yeah.
So I want to do another icon, the George
Uh-huh.
Murphy moment.
Oh, before we do that, real quick,
Yes.
we have to do the one question we ask.
Oh, yeah, please.
Oh,
We have to do a couple. I got two. We ask,
Two.
what's your favorite curse word?
I
You
don't
can
have,
curse on here. You can say.
but I
whatever
don't
you want.
have one.
You don't have
No,
one.
she doesn't.
No.
What's your go-to? You don't have a go-to?
No.
Like nothing gets you so worked up that
No.
you no.
Really?
Yeah.
Good Lord, what's yours?
What do you do?
Well, I
What are you
used to have a
thinking?
pretty good vocabulary, but she's got me down to phooey.
Okay, and the other question.
That's pretty impressive.
That is
For
pretty-
you. You really have some good training
Phooey?
going on. We need to hang
Phooey.
out with you.
Phooey.
Phooey.
Phooey. My mom would be thrilled to know if I had that in my vocabulary, but I'll try to pick it up. The other one is, what have you done that you know or
Yeah,
that
this is a
you
great-
think you know you're the only one who has? What have you done that you know or you think you know you're the only one who has?
Well, do this photography book.
That's
I
it,
I was
selected
just gonna say,
Island
I was
Yeah,
just
that
gonna
is
say,
that's
yeah.
right up there.
for, that started out as a little tiny idea and now is like runaway
I think-
train at, to raise almost $65,000 for Sister Season
That's
Fund.
perfect.
That was
That's
just
awesome.
an idea in my brain
Right.
Sure.
that has now taken off. I would
Perfect.
say that.
That's a great answer.
That's a great
What
answer.
was the question?
It's what do you know or that you think you know you're the only person? What have you done that you know or you think you know you're the only person who has?
I know.
Sitting here dressed like this tonight.
That's you're
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
You're right.
Nobody's taking this
also
responsibility
is-
for this.
Holds the last wrecking license in Key West.
See, now that's a thing.
Oh, that's right. I'll hold
Yeah.
the last
Really?
wrecking
Yeah,
license.
Richard
That's the
Hyman.
thing.
Yeah.
That's the thing. All right,
Yeah.
and now I just want to get that in there. Well, now I know you want to do the George Murphy.
Well, no, I just want, we were talking about icons. We have icons. We have icon in the audience. So, we do every week a George Murphy moment. And for those that don't remember who George Murphy is, he was a raconteur, an actor, a writer, a supporter, a nonprofit,
A Fantasy Fest King.
Yeah.
Fantasy Fest King, an MC, and one of my besties.
Mhm.
So unfortunately, he passed recently. And so we dedicate this moment to Georgie. And we're going to, this week's book, of course, is Reefs, which is Sex, Salvage, and Secrets. And you can get it at Key West Island Books on Fleming Street.
Mhm.
And you can also get it on Amazon both in digital and in print. But if you're gonna spend, please spend locally.
Yeah, buy
Okay.
buy local always.
But always buy local.
And Amy, can I
Yes.
just say that Ross Pipkin,
Yes.
I know Ross. Yes.
just narrated it.
Oh,
it-
really?
It
Oh,
should
fantastic.
be
So
up
it's
as
on-
an audible. All of his
Awesome.
books are an audible, all
Fabulous.
narrated by Ross, which actors are the best narrators for books.
Oh,
He came up
fantastic.
with
Not
26 voices.
Not me. I cannot read. That's one of my downfalls.
Yeah.
I'm not good at that. I will bow
But
to
it's like acting it
anybody
out.
that can do that.
Right.
Yeah.
So can
It's
I
like
say a
Reader's
George?
Theater was always the
Yeah.
hardest.
Yes,
for
of
me.
course.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Never.
Can I say a George Murphy story?
Of course,
Sure,
tell George Murphy
absolutely.
story. Let's go.
When I was in the salvage business, I knew George. He had a houseboat on, what is it out there?
Roosevelt, North
Sea
Roosevelt.
Dog.
What do they call that?
Sea Dog.
Sea Dog. Yeah, Sea Dog out there on the North Roosevelt, Houseboat Row.
Houseboat Row, right.
And his boat was always sinking. So George and I had to, and what I loved about George was that even while he was sinking, he was wet from the, shins down, but from there up, he was just George Murphy. So you couldn't stop him. So I come there 2 a.m, and who was his girlfriend? She'd be there holding all her stuff and putting it on the boat, slowly going down. The living room's got about a foot of water. And George goes, "Well, isn't this damn? I haven't seen you in a long time. What are you doing?" And we're both standing there as this boat's sinking, and I put the pump on, and we pump it out, and the girlfriend comes back on. And that went on for months. It was just too much. But he was such a, interesting guy. He was he was totally alive all the time.
He was
Yep.
a Renaissance man.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I got to tell a quick one about
Everything was
Dink.
great.
Oh, yeah. And
Since
got
we
a
had
Dink
early
story.
Dink, this
Yeah.
is real short. We pulled up to the intersection on Flagler and Bertha. One day I was riding with, Dink was driving. And I go, "Oh, Dink." And I go, "Oh, light screen." He goes, "Let me tell you, I pulled up at this intersection 15 years ago with Hunter Thompson. And Hunter was driving, and I was sitting where you are. And I said, 'Hunter, the light's green.' And Hunter went, and just as he turned, some drunk went through at 4 a.m, went right through the light. Whack! And Hunter goes, 'I know.'" You got to wonder what was going on in that addled brain, that he saw something coming that nobody else could have ever seen. Anyway, that's my story.
Thank you so
Awesome.
much.
Well, we need to go one more time.
Isolated Island.
Isolated Island. It's the pictorial of Key West when we were closed off from the rest of the world during the COVID. And I'm so excited when that comes out. And it's
Yep.
all going for a good cause for Sister Season, which is
Right.
locals helping locals. So especially those in the service industry, hospitality industry, which takes on many forms on this little rock.
So there's
of
a
ours.
Facebook page, Isolated Island. You can order the book there or go
Okay.
to keywestauthors.com.
Okay.
Perfect.
And also,
keywestauthors.com.
don't forget that Key West with the Weird Go Pro
Mhm.
is doing the masks. So
Yep.
you can get a mask like this, and the $10 is a donation to Sister Season Fund.
Cool.
So everybody seems to be working,
Yeah, yes.
working together.
Awesome.
I personally want to thank you guys for being here.
Thank you
Yeah,
guys so
thank you.
much.
Great
Thank you,
job.
Mark. Thanks for having us
Oh,
on.
please.
So,
Yay! Thank you, audience.
and thank you, Hutch and Michelle, our roving reporters.
Yeah.
Yes.
And thank you for all your work. And of course, these guys.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oslinda.
Where the weird go pro and the pro go weird.
That's
That's
exactly
right. That's right.
That's how it works.
So I think we're going into the Key West address. Is that correct? Awesome.
She's
So,
saying yes, and
yeah,
she knows.
I wouldn't mess with her.
I'm not, please. I'm not like,
But
mea culpa.
Awesome, and Joe, thank you guys so very
Thank you
much.
guys very
And
much.
Yeah.
we're going to play the Key West Address. You guys have a great weekend.
All
And
right.
thank you.
Awesome.
Thanks,
Thank
guys.
Key West address, a tattooed waitress, and a fish that's bigger than the hole in my net. A good bottle of rum, a fine Cuban cigar. Life will take care of the rest. Give me a Key West address. Give me a Key West address. Give me a Key West address.